So, we've got our first official look at Martin Scorsese's new film, Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm a bit ill at the moment, so please excuse my voice if it sounds a bit weird, but it feels like we've been waiting ages to get a glimpse at Killers of the Flower Moon, and that's precisely because the movie was supposed to originally start filming early last year. It actually started filming about 3 weeks ago, the middle of April 2021, so it's actually really quick that we've got an image. Usually you don't get one so soon, especially one that clearly looks like official promotional material and not some random shot from a paparazzi. First shared on Leonardo DiCaprio's Twitter page, the image shows DiCaprio in character as Ernest Burkhart sitting in his home. In fact, it's most likely an actual shot from the film. I run into weird copyright issues on the channel sometimes. I can't show the full image, but the whole thing also shows Lily Gladstone as DiCaprio's wife, Molly Burkhart, an Osage woman married to the white DiCaprio, a fact which is very important in the film. So that's definitely Leonardo DiCaprio. He doesn't look too different to how he usually looks, just a bit older and with a bit more thinner hair and with a slightly constipated expression. He looks quite similar to how he looked in Scorsese's Shutter Island. And I'm not going to give anything away, but those who have read the book will know that DiCaprio is going to have this conflicted, introspective look on his face quite a lot throughout the film. Unlike previous Scorsese films like Gangs of New York or The Aviator, DiCaprio is not the good guy in this movie. He might not even be the protagonist, it's more of an ensemble piece, but he isn't going to be a straight up bad guy either. The guy he's playing is a piece of work, but he's morally nuanced. It's actually a really interesting character, perhaps one of the best DiCaprio will ever play in his career. Knowing Ernest Burkhart from the book, you can make this guy out to be a sadistic evil man, a wolf in sheep's clothing, a mentally weak-willed man, a sympathetic, conflicted man trapped in a corner. So it's going to be really interesting seeing what direction they take this in and how they portray the character. I'm not exactly the biggest DiCaprio fan around, and one of the reasons is the lack of complexity in a lot of the characters he plays. They're either straight-up good guys or, in the case of one or two recent films, bad guys. But here, there's room for a lot of nuance in his character's nature. Even though on paper he is technically a bad guy, this could be a very complex character. I mean, it's only one image, so there's no point getting too overexcited, but one of the most remarkable things about this photo, I think, is the production design, which is being done by the famed Jack Fisk, who worked on There Will Be Blood, The Revenant, and other period films. The ornaments and drawers behind DiCaprio and the moody lighting, it all feels very retro, doesn't it? You don't need to be told that this movie is set in the past, you can just tell, can't you? Then there's the dirty salt shakers, the crumbs on the table. All of these kind of things are very important in giving a film a lived-in feel, like it takes place in a real moving, breathing, living world, which I think is often one of the strongest aspects of Martin Scorsese movies. I can't wait to see what Robert De Niro looks like in the movie. DiCaprio pretty much looks the same in almost every Scorsese film, but De Niro usually has a very distinct look, to such an extent you can always tell which Scorsese movie any shot of him is from. It's also interesting that there's around a 20-year age gap between De Niro's age and the character he's playing. The age isn't important to the character, not like with Scorsese's previous film, The Irishman, and I think they're just going to play around with the characters' ages in the film. But if we see a still of De Niro and he happens to have some dots around his neck area, then you know for sure that they're going to be implementing that de-aging technology from The Irishman again, which might partly explain Killers of the Flower Moon's huge budget. I hope they don't go down that route. I know why they did it for The Irishman. It was necessary given the structure of the film, but it really isn't needed here. Killers of the Flower Moon is a film I get more and more excited at thinking about the closer we get to the film's release date. The book was incredible, it's got a wonderful cast, it's Martin Scorsese, it's a western, and it's got a really good story. For more updates and news on the film, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification button down below. And thanks for watching.